There was a wonderful family theater there that charged $1. And even though I was truly a very poor college student, I always found the ability to find a $1 bill or 4 quarters to go. I had to go at least once a week just to kind of break from the studies. And there was a film that came through town called, I think, If This Is Tuesday, This Must Be Belgium. Yes? Oh, I didn't live there all by myself. Well, I think this is Tuesday. This is not Belgium, but this is Notre Dame Retreat House, and this is day 6 of our Festival for Freedom, and I thank you so much for being part of this evening's program. Some of you are very familiar faces. You've been coming, you've had a chance to either be retired, which I guess means do anything you want to, except work, right? And try to find time to do the things you really want to do, right? That's the trick. And some of you have been here, and some of you have not been here before. Just a couple notes. If you did not get a chance to pick up at the registration desk, on one side is the day's agenda. And since you've gotten this far, you're doing okay without it. But I think in some ways, equally important and even more intriguing is the reverse side. One of the resources that the Conference of Bishops has put together for this fortnight of freedom are daily reflections for the 14 days on Vatican II document, Dignitatis Humanae, which really lays some of the foundation for the work that we continue in this festival. So they've given it to us in English, gratefully, and some reflection questions. So to get all 14, you need to come all 14 days. It's that simple. But if you would like that on your way out, you can certainly pick that up. Also at the theater, I'll be standing there at the end. And I have something that came to me actually yesterday in my email, and I wanted to ignore it because I didn't have time to address it. But then another edition came out today, Virtual Vigil for Religious Liberty. And what it is a website to go on, and they are attempting to get 10,000 signatures of people who are keeping faith with one another during this fortnight for freedom. And so I have some copies, just if you're intrigued by that, this will give you what you need to pursue that. And it gives me great privilege to invite you to help support financially these 2 weeks. This is not my nature to ask for money. And you know that this is not an effort that's been supported by any diocesan structure or parish structure. We're running all the finances through a special account at St. Mary's for our transparency and IRS and all those good kind of legal sorts of things and responsible things. But at the end of the day, at the end of the fortnight, we are responsible for paying all the bills. And you are the we. People have been very generous thus far. And I can very gratefully say to you and to God, we're keeping one day ahead of our bills, which is not a bad place to be, which is exactly how I would ideally hope this would be. Okay? This is not a money-making effort. This is meant to break even. This is meant to, at the end of the 2 weeks, hopefully have some monies left over to give to Notre Dame Retreat House. They have been most generous in offering this facility to us, with the only stipulation that at the end of the 2 weeks, if you can give us a donation, that donation will come if we've paid all the other bills. That's the generous spirit in which they've allowed us to be here. And the generous spirit that the speakers have flown in and all those kinds of reality checks, I guess, of life. So I'm going to be standing at the back of the chapel, just outside the doors, at the end of the performance, asking your participation. Now, some of you have already very generously contributed, and I do not I don't think I know how to guilt people. But I certainly don't need to try to pretend that I know how to guilt people. So if you give something, I'm going to say thank you for being here. If you give nothing, I'm going to say thank you for being here. This is not the opportunity when some of you even brought a purse or a wallet or a checkbook. But if you do want to provide some resources other than what you might have as loose change in your pocket and want to make out a check, again, for accounting purposes, all checks need to be made out to St. Mary's Church - Festival for Freedom. So again, that goes in the way of giving. Well, they were here last week, Theater of the Word, and we were absolutely enthralled with their production of St. Paul. Tonight we're going to go into another part of the world inside an office. As Adam needed to go to a marriage house. So Kevin, are you ready? Okay, Kevin is the director of the troupe, and he's going to give you a warm-up, an introduction. Oh, thank you for stepping on that. The people who set up the staging for us have not returned to fine-tuning, as I would call it. In other words, to lose all the squeaks and squitters. So every time you hear a squeak or a squitter, and you will, just offer up a prayer for the success of this festival. You'll be praying on your knees by the end of the evening, I can guarantee. But thank you for being here, truly. And thank you to Kevin and your troupe. Thank you to all the people who are putting this together in so many small and very big ways, in prayer support, in financial support, in physical presence support. It's just a joy to be able to offer these 2 weeks. So, Kevin, they're all yours.
Deacon Claude may let you go past him without making a donation, but when you get past him, you got to go past our table. We're not going to let you get out. Because even though this is a free show, if your cell phone goes off, there will be a $75 fine. You can check out to Kevin O'Brien personally. This is the Theater of the Word Incorporated. We're based in St. Louis, Missouri. We travel the country evangelizing through drama. We've been on the road almost the entire month of June. We've performed in the Black Hills of South Dakota about 2 weeks ago, and then Buffalo, and Canandaigua. Then last week we went to Rhode Island. So we've been all over. And but tonight you're going to see a show that we haven't done yet on this tour. This is a show that I was a little concerned as to how people would react to. Because you know how typically from your pulpits here in Catholic churches, we don't really hear much about the hot button issues. Contraception, pornography, and even marriage. We hear a little bit about that in St. Louis. They're pretty good where we come from, but still, you don't hear a lot about the hot button issues that upset people. So we were afraid, since we put all that stuff in this show, that we might get stoned. But that hasn't happened. Much to our surprise, even performing in affluent suburban parishes, people are quite captivated by this show because I think they understand that this show conveys a dramatic context in which we can place church teaching on love and marriage. And I think they begin to understand that the church teaching, the teaching of Christ, is not arbitrary, but is all about love. Before we go any further, we're going to give away a few things. This is a rosary made by Maria Romine, who plays Eve in this show. And Maria is a former Presbyterian. She's now Catholic. I was her sponsor when she came in. And she makes these rosaries, and I've managed to get this one all knotted up. But still in all, we're giving it away. And you just have to answer a question. This is the easy one. Raise your hand if you know. In what book of the Bible do Adam and Eve appear? Yes. You can't yell it out, though. You raise your hand. I got to call you. So I'm going to call her. Genesis is correct. Let's hear it for the winner. Now, when we did the journey of St. Paul, we quoted St. Paul's great hymn to love. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful, etc. In what epistle, what book of the Bible, written by St. Paul, Does the hymn to love appear? And if you get it right, you win a Theater of the Word button, retail value of $1. You had your hand up in the back, yes, madam. Which Corinthians? Ooh. Yeah, 1! Come on now, I don't want to run back there. Let's hear the winner, ladies and gentlemen. First Corinthians chapter 13, there you go. Thank you. And finally, we're going to give away the grand prize. And to get this is, by the way, I'm going to be on the journey home again on the first Monday of August. And last time I was on as myself, I talked about my conversion from atheist to Catholic and how being on stage was part of that. And then I've also appeared as St. Paul, telling Paul's conversion story, and as Blessed Dominic Barberi, who was the man who received Cardinal Newman into the church, John Henry Newman, in the 1840s. So I'm Dominic Barberi on this one. And the reason we're giving this one away is nobody's buying it. But it's a $20 value. So if you wanted it, you'd have to give me $20. But you'll get it if you answer this question correctly, and you might know the answer if you were here last week for our show. Fill in the blank. If blank gets a bigger standing ovation than I do, I will be very angry. Yes, sir. Michael Voris, of course. Let's hear the winner, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Well, I'm not going to talk anymore. You're going to see the show. It's about an hour long. It's mostly funny. You can laugh at it, but it's packed with all kinds of good stuff. So no more from me. We'll see you after the show. Put your hands together for Adam and Eve Go to Marriage Counseling.
God created man in his image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. Genesis 1:27. The beginning. Lustful stallions they are. Each neighs after another's wife. Shall I not punish them for these things, says the Lord? On a nation such as this, shall I not take vengeance? Jeremiah 5:8-9. The middle. Then he said to me, Behold, I am coming soon, and the Spirit and the bride say, Come. And this is how it ends.
Hello?
Yes?
Doctor? Oh.
Yes?
Were you 3 o'clock?
My 3 o'clock?
Your 3 o'clock appointment, marriage counseling?
Oh, yes, forgive me. I'm sorry. I was reading, lost track of time. Your name?
Eve.
Eve.
Yes, I'm here with my husband, Adam.
Adam and Eve.
Yes.
Marriage counseling?
Yes. And believe me, we need it.
I see. Well, where's your husband?
I could care less. Look, I don't even know why we're here. I don't even know if it's going to help. 10,000 years of marriage and it's come to this.
I see. Well, maybe we ought to just...
Let's go see a counselor, I said. It's obvious we need counseling, I said. It couldn't hurt, I said.
What did he say?
Yes, dear. That's all he ever says is, yes, dear. He just doesn't even talk to me.
So the problem is communication.
Doctor, this is the man who gave a name to everything. He can be very verbal when he wants to be.
Still, after many years of marriage, verbal communication can become an issue. Perhaps writing. I've often found that a couple's writing.
Writing? Oh, you want writing? Our last counselor suggested writing.
Really?
Yes.
How did that go?
He gave us the assignment to write about how glad we were to be married to one another. Adam didn't even do it. I did, but he didn't.
What did you write?
Oh, I have it right here, Doctor.
It should be good. Adam, I'm glad I married you because without me, you were wandering around getting lost in the garden. And you were too proud to stop and ask directions.
That made him mad.
I'm not surprised.
He said, the garden? Why'd you have to bring up the garden? Oh, look, here he comes now.
Eve, why'd you start without me? I was parking the car.
I was so desperate for somebody to talk to, somebody that actually acknowledged that I existed, that I couldn't wait, that's why.
Crying out loud, let's not get into an argument in front of a counselor we haven't even met yet.
A counselor that I suggested we see.
Well, I'm here, ain't I? I'm missing the big game, ain't I?
You wouldn't be here if it weren't for me.
Right. I'm here because you asked me to be. What point are you making?
The point I'm making is that if it weren't for me, you'd be at a bar somewhere with your buddies watching the game on the big screen instead of here with me working on our marriage. That's where you would be, Adam. That is exactly where you'd be.
Allow me then to apologize for something I hypothetically might be doing. Allow me to say how sorry I am for something I didn't even do.
See, Doctor? This is how he talks to me.
You see, this is the way she treats me.
You are impossible.
You're impossible.
No, you're impossible.
Oh, for crying out loud, Eve, will you please stop? No matter what I do, it's never enough. You're never satisfied. You are never satisfied.
I could easily be satisfied if somebody ever tried.
Oh, you're easily satisfied?
Yes, I am.
No, you're not. You weren't happy in the Garden of Eden, were you? You're not even satisfied with paradise, Eve. There's not a lot a husband can do with a wife who's not satisfied with paradise.
So it's all my fault. Is that it?
As a matter of fact, it is.
How is it my fault?
The snake, the apple, come on.
Oh, fine.
Well, we're off to a good start.
You see, Doctor? This is how he talks to me. This is...
Will you please be quiet just for a minute?
You never talk to me. You never listen to me.
I put a roof over your head for crying out loud. By the sweat of my brow, I put bread on the table just like God said I would. Thorns and thistles and the rest of that stuff.
Oh, as if I don't do anything around the house. As if raising kids was nothing.
Yeah, the kids.
Yes.
Oh, let's bring the kids into it, okay? Oh, Doc, let me tell you about the kids. Oh, yeah. Things were going just peachy until we had kids. The first one was born, and I kept saying to her, I can't believe the way you're raising Cain.
That's another thing. Stupid jokes. He is always telling stupid jokes.
Oh, and it's her fault that we got expelled from paradise.
I see. How does that make you feel?
I felt very put out.
You see what I mean?
And then she got bossy. We ate the apple, we knew we were naked. She looked right at me and she said, I'll wear the plants in this family. At least we don't have her mother living with us.
Why not?
She hasn't got one.
Look, if you two are going to make a comedy routine about our marriage, I'm leaving. I don't need this.
Look. I think I can work with you.
You do?
I do. Your problems are very similar to marital problems everywhere.
You're kidding.
Look, wives often feel ignored and husbands often feel henpecked. Now the wives respond by becoming more persistent.
There you go, it's your fault.
And the husbands respond by becoming more withdrawn.
It's your fault.
It becomes a vicious circle. It becomes the fault of each.
All right, Doctor. How did we get to this point? Tell me, how did it all start?
Well, why don't we try and find that, shall we? How did it all begin? How did the two of you meet?
Well, I woke up and there he was.
Oh.
No, it's not like the girls these days. The girls these days don't wake up and find a man. They sleep around and they find a bunch of men. But for me it was different. I mean, I woke up and there he was. The man I knew I was made for. I didn't sleep around.
You couldn't sleep around. I was it.
That's not what I mean. I mean that from the first moment that I can recall, I knew this man was the man for me. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's crazy.
You didn't feel the same way, that he was the woman for you?
Oh, come on! I mean, it's not like I woke up and there she was. Except that's literally what happened. But even in my case, from the beginning, it was painful.
Oh, so I'm a pain in the neck, is that it?
No, more like a pain in the side. You know, it's as if from my side, through something painful, new life came. And at least first, new love. God brought new life and new love from my very side.
Isn't that interesting?
What?
That reminds me of something. Listen. But when they came to Jesus and saw that he was already dead, they did not break his legs. But one soldier thrust his spear into his side, and immediately there flowed out blood mixed with water. John 19:33 and 34. You see, from his pain too, from his open side, spilled blood, new life, and love have come.
I don't know why you have to get all religious on us.
I mean, come on, you're a marriage counselor, not a spiritual director.
What does the Bible have to do with marriage?
Everything. Marriage was the first of the sacraments created in the garden. You two know about that. Well, in the Old Testament, the book, the Song of Solomon, is all about God's love for us, and it's all presented as a marriage feast. Then, through the prophets, God often refers to the people of Israel as his first love, his beautiful spouse, who he says abandoned him and behaved like prostitutes, lusting after false gods. The Old Testament is all about God's love for us, a very insistent, jealous love. God's love for us and our repeated failure to love him back. Then in the New Testament, Jesus' first miracle is at the wedding feast of Cana. Later, he strictly forbids divorce and remarriage in no uncertain terms. He gives us a new commandment: love one another. The Holy Spirit inspires St. Paul to write a great hymn to love, 1 Corinthians 13. And our Lord's second coming, at the very end of the book of Revelation, is as a bridegroom coming to us, his church. A groom coming to us to consummate the marriage, the everlasting marriage, and the Spirit and the bride say, "Come."
Yeah, well, that's the Bible. But in real life, marriage can be one thing and love can be another.
Sadly, that's true. Because we're fallen creatures and our families aren't perfect. But love is perfect.
Love is perfect?
Of course. Because God is love. If you don't believe me, look at Jesus. Look at the cross. A perfect image of love.
I agree. Marriage and crucifixion have a lot in common. Living with one woman all of your natural life, not much different from an ancient Roman method of torture. You know, you think, Doctor, that you know so much, huh? Quoting the Bible here, quoting the Bible there. Oh yeah, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Guess what? You don't know God. I know God. I knew him personally.
Explain that.
He thinks he used to walk with God.
There's my explanation. Delivered by the art of ventriloquism.
That's what you always say, Adam.
Well, it's true, Eve, for crying out loud. Once again, you're talking about something you don't even know. You weren't even there. It was before you were there. I mean, come on now. God made me. He put me in charge of everything. I got to name the plants and the animals. He would walk with me. In the cool of the evening, with the warmth of the day surrounding us, he would walk with me. He would talk with me.
How did that make you feel?
What is this, Dr. Phil?
How did that make you feel, Adam? We'll be right back for your answer, Adam.
I mean, give me a break. How do you think it made me feel? I was with God, for crying out loud.
So what you're trying to say is you were happy.
More than that, it was more like joy.